Thank you for joining this webinar. Today we will be looking at what's new in 42Q in Q2, where we'll cover some of the new and updated features that has come out in the past two releases. So we'll just go through some of the housekeeping rules, and we'll cover 3 new features in CMMS and 1 updated feature in measurement and 2 updated features in production scheduling. So as I go through this webinar, please keep your lines muted. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them down in the chat column and I will get to them towards the end of this webinar. Okay, so let's look at the first new feature in CMMS. So this is the new calibration calendar. It provides flexible view options and status support and an interactive panel. Let's go ahead and see how that works. All right, so I'm going to go into calibration calendar over here. You can find that under CMMS calibration. All right, so the first new feature that we talked about was the view of it all. You can see it by month, week, day, or list. And you've got your calibrations all sorted here by color, which is based on the status. The green one says, the light green one says completed. The dark green ones over here is rescheduled, and the ones in blue that you see is not started. The ones in orange is work in progress, and the rest you can see over here as well. There are 7 statuses: completed, approval, approved, and rejected. So the other thing about the interactive panel is when you click on any of these, you can find that you have options over here. You can send an email, you can view the calibration. You also have an option to reschedule. So this is based on permissions. If you have assigned asset permissions, then you will be able to see reschedule. Another thing about reschedule is you can only do that for calibrations that have not yet started. So these are the 3 features under the calibration calendar module. So let's go back. So the next new feature is the new low inventory alert button that you can find under CMMS spare parts under the purchase request module. So let's go ahead and see that. All right, so like we said, it's on the CMMS spare parts, and I'm going to go into the purchase request module. So over here, you can find the low inventory alert button over here. So when I click on it, you can choose your notification group over here. There's a drop down over here from which you can pick, and you can choose the frequency of occurrence. You can choose to never end it or after how many ever consecutive occurrences. Now this works based on the following criteria. That is, if your part is active or marked as in stock, and if its source type is external and marked as reused, and also mainly if it only triggers when it's lower than the safety stock, and if it's not included in a purchase request or its stock status has been updated. So this is one of the newer features in CMMS. The last one under CMMS is asset fields. Now this provides a lot more flexibility and efficiency because you get to view your assets under an asset in the asset type level. And so yeah, this is your new asset fields module. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, so there are a couple of things over here that you can do. You can either add a field and create a new flex field over here, or you can configure your common fields. So I'm going to first go to configure common fields over here. So I see that the subtag number is unique and mandatory over here. I'm just going to take this as an example. Okay, so I'm going to show you first how this is viewed, and then I'm going to change this, and then we'll come back over here and change it. So first, I'm also going to add a new field here. So in order to do that, I can either add a new flex field over here or by clicking on this button. I'm going to just go ahead and do this. So if I have a particular asset type over here, then this flex field will only be visible in that particular asset type. But if I leave this empty, then it applies to all the assets. So I'm going to leave this empty for now, and I'm going to create a flex field over here. Right. All right, I'm going to leave the data type as string. I'm going to leave them as no, but you can choose to do so if you wish to. And in order to show you how tips work, I'm going to provide a tip over here. And you can choose your unit of measurement or leave it as is and set it as active and click on save. All right, so now when I go to CMMS asset, all right, so I'm going to go into the asset module over here. All right, I'm going to pick any one asset over here and click on edit asset. So now when I go down and expand the flex fields, I'll be able to see the flex field that we just created. And this is how your tip works. So if you want to give the operator more information about this particular flex field, then you can provide that over here. And since we gave a string data type, I'm just going to provide it as test and click on save. All right, so now that's saved successfully. Oh, and I also wanted to show you how the subtag number looks over here. So now currently, since it was unique and mandatory, there's a star over here. So now when I go back to CMMS admin, and go to the asset fields, now I'm going to configure that particular field and take that off and click on save. Now I'm going to go back to CMMS asset. Go back to the asset module. All right, so now you can see that the subtag number no longer has that star next to it, which means it's no longer mandatory. So that's how you can configure your common fields and also add flex fields. Now, apart from this, you can also view the history of your flex fields by clicking on the source type and setting it as asset. So now, earlier we made that change of providing a new value and setting it at string. So that's how this changes. Now, let's say I make a change to this. I'm going to go ahead and edit this asset and go to the flex fields and provide a different data over here. Now, when I view the history tracking over here, again, setting it as asset. So now you can see that the previous value was test and now it's demo. So that's how this works. So these are some of the new features in CMMS. Now, next, I'm going to move to measurement. So measurement now allows you to add multiple part numbers and recipe types. So let's go ahead and see how that works. All right, so now I'm going to go to recipe maintenance. All right, so here you can already see that there are other recipes with multiple part numbers. I'm just going to go into one of the recipes that I created. All right, so you can find this. This is a recipe that I created. So in order to change the part numbers, I can go ahead and click on edit. So you can see that there's a hyperlink on part numbers over here. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. So now when I do that, I can see the number of part numbers over here. Now, if you have multiple part numbers over here, and if you want to search, you can use the search panel over here. And if you want to add a new part number, let's say, so I'm just going to click on, let's say, one of these and click on add part number. And that's it. So that's how you can add part numbers, or you can even delete part numbers by just simply clicking on the delete button over here. And go ahead and click on save. All right, so similarly, your recipe type also works pretty much the same way. You can choose your recipe types over here. And I'm going to go ahead and select all of it. And now I'm going to click on save. So this is how you can add multiple part numbers and recipe types. This provides more flexibility because now you don't have to create multiple recipes, which would ideally work the same for each of the part numbers. Now let's go back and look at the two updated features in production scheduling. So in order to understand this, I'm going to quickly go over to production scheduling. All right. So the updated feature is that you can now see the process name and the creator name when you hover over any of the shop orders. Here under the third one, you can see the process name, and the last one is shown as the creator. So you can see which process name and who's created it. So that's one of the updated features. And the other updated feature is the provision of the warning trigger, where when you try to schedule a completed shop order, it throws a warning that says the shop order is complete and cannot be scheduled. Now let's see how that works. Now let's go back to production scheduling for that. All right, in order to do that, I'm going to go to shop order. All right, so I'm going to select one of the shop orders over here, and I'm going to try and place this. Now you can see this warning message, like how you saw in the screenshot. The shop order is complete and cannot be scheduled. So that brings us to the end of this webinar. If you have any more questions or if you want to know this in detail, then you can go ahead and click on the release notes in MES Wiki. We also have an alternative in MES 16 called the Content Hub, which we will be showing you soon. So that's about it. Do you have any questions or comments? All right. So thank you all for joining this webinar. Have a nice day.